This is Hannibal from the Hannibal TV on YouTube, back with none other than New Jersey Mayor Sam Morris of Mine Hill, New Jersey, who we had on last week, where there was a lot of confusion about what was going on over New Jersey. Since then, a lot has happened. What's the latest you could tell us?
Oh, everything is totally clear now. There's no issues whatsoever. Everyone is fully informed and happy. How's my sarcasm? Was it working pretty good?
This is actually pretty good.
I don't think we're particularly any further than we were last week. Except the only thing I can tell you that's very different from last week is a lot of elected officials are just worn down by the feds. I'm not one of them. I'm still trying to aggravate them pretty much, but um, it's a disinformation campaign. It's not really any mystery to what they're doing. And maybe they have good legitimate reasons. Maybe there's a legitimate threat or something, but I think their messaging is so bad you almost have to. These are very bright people that we're dealing with, right? I mean, a former admiral and all these people, and Mr. Kirby, and I think I think this is all intentional. They're just not dummies. Their messaging is bad on purpose, I think. And they say something to throw everybody off, that ties up a day or day and a half of media. Then after a little pressure, they do it again. That's another day and a half of media. And it kind of wears people down. It wears on you. But we legitimately have no further answers than we have, no more answers than we had before whatsoever.
But since the last time, the FAA has shut down airspace over many places in New Jersey. Does that include your township?
No, it doesn't. They said it's over. What the information I got was that it's over what they call critical electrical grid spots, which would be substations or I forget the next, but there's a substation that's like a bigger substation. There's a name for it, but it's essentially they're protecting the electrical grid. And now the thing that gets me is there's a lot of electrical infrastructure that zigzags across the state. In my town, there's a crisscross of two high tension, the big transportation towers and cables. And why isn't that shut down? Can a drone not really do much to one of those or whatever? But that's, and then there's some frustration with, well, if you're going to do a ban on the drones that you don't know what they are, as you claim you don't know what they are, then how do you enforce the ban anyway? A week and a half ago, my fellow mayors and I had asked for a ban on all drones in the air for 30 days just to get a handle on it. And now they're doing like a partial ban. So
For the townships where they are having the ban, I know it's only been a day. Has it made any difference?
I haven't heard anything. It would really have only been last night. It's what people are reporting to me in my town and other towns is the drones are very time specific now. Like in my town, especially Tuesday night. Tuesday night, my phone was blowing up. Tuesday night, from 5 to 7, my town, according to the people over here, I was out of town at a concert for my daughter. People were saying it was like a beehive. And they also texted me and said at 7:30, they're all gone. It's super quiet. I'm hearing that from other towns too, different time periods that it's really busy and then they go. So I don't know what's going on in one night, but I guess those, and tonight it's snow. We're getting wet, rain and snow, so they won't be up tonight. And then maybe we'll see what the Saturday and Sunday brings. But right now it seems to be, it's a change in pattern. And I guess those towns will report if there's violations. And I'm sure that'll be in the news, hopefully.
As far as your town goes, there's a few people on here mentioning there seems to be various types, the little orb ones that seem to be moving very erratically, and then the more conventional drones that are making a sound and have lights on them. Some even look like military drone type lights. Have you guys noticed the different types of drones in your town, or some might be something other than drones? Who knows?
Someone showed me a video yesterday from that they took that looked The picture, I hesitate to say this, but it's honest. The picture they showed me looked like a spinning jellyfish, for lack of a better way to say it. The thing was round. It looked like it was soft, and the light was just moving around in it, and it was very bizarre. It was very bizarre. And then we have people who have said they see the ones that look like small planes. And then Thursday night last week, I had an ABC 7 reporter out here from New York, and didn't see much of anything. And then we saw one, and it was kind of a six-sided round looking thing, So, and she and the cameraman were like, that one's not a plane. We can't testify what it is, but it's not a plane. So there's been all kinds of different types and shapes for sure.
I was just listening to something before you came on with the Homeland Security guy saying that the possible government shutdown could affect the weapons of mass destruction counter bureau or whatever it is that looks
Countermeasure.
after. Yeah. How do you think the government potential shutdown could affect whatever's going on up there? Because there has been that Belleville, New Jersey mayor hinting that at one point they could have been looking for some type of evidence of a weapon of mass destruction, radiation, or dirty bomb or something.
Yeah, let me touch on that first, and then I'll come back. So I have a good friend who is he's a nuclear physicist. He does it. And what he does is he has a master's degree from Columbia and all that stuff. He works on behalf of a hospital system managing their radiation uses. And sometimes they're the pellets that people put in cancers. Sometimes they are radiation. They're called a bar that go into a PET scan machine or other machines. And I did speak to him about this yesterday. There was a package. What happens with this radioactive material when it degrades? It's like a car battery. It gets less and less and less and less power, and it dies. So they had what they were calling some degraded material that was being sent back for, I guess, disposal or whatever. And literally the package tore open, and the stuff, it was like a bar of material, and it went missing. And using a Geiger counter and tracing their steps, they found it. There wasn't a need for military satellites or anything. He said, we find it, we just go, Geiger counter will tell you where it is. It goes off crazy. And they found it. But my opinion, and I spoke to him about this, that started the rumors about a dirty bomb, because it's actually on the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's website that there was this incident with this degraded material, and they have to report it. They have to make a complete report. And that report, we think, is what took people to, oh, well, there was a dirty bomb. That you couldn't light a toaster with this material that they had. So hopefully that's the real reality of where the dirty bomb thing came from. What was the other? I'm sorry. What was your first point you asked me?
Just the Homeland Security guy, Alejandro Mayorkas. Yeah, he was just mentioning the budget for the weapons of mass destruction for people that look into that could be affected. So if this is something more dangerous, the government shutdown could potentially affect the whole investigation into these drone incursions.
Yeah, I do know from a source that the Air Force has been deployed with night vision capability. The feds have actually said they have deployed resources to New Jersey and New York of that type. And it's, you have Army and Marine and Navy folks. These folks all get something, not all, but they have crews of them that get trained in night vision. And I think one of the problems with that is some people can't do it because they get nauseous or they get motion sick or something. But I know they did a call for that and brought in people, and those people are deployed. So if there's a government shutdown, I really don't think the military just goes home. Like, I think it won't affect the military, but it affects, Congress and trains and buses and Amtrak and all those federal programs. So hopefully, I think it's kind of ridiculous that they're maybe have a shutdown right before Christmas. And if it does, I really hope it doesn't have any impact on this whatsoever.
Do you think the timing of this, if it is something nefarious, even though they're using the word that it's not nefarious, with Christmas coming up, the changing of Trump to Biden, seems like this would be a good time if something bad was going to happen, because people seem to have their guard down, and the government themselves are kind of saying they're not prepared for this and they don't know what it is at this point.
I think okay, so I liken these drones when the ones that I've seen, and I've seen on a few different nights, I've actually seen drones which weren't planes. I think if somebody wanted to hurt us, they'd have done it. They'd do it at 3 o'clock in the morning with the lights of with a drone or with whatever mechanism, with no lights, no fanfare. They would just hurt us, and then they would take credit the next day, right? That's how these guys do these things, these bombings, all these. I don't think. I think what's going on is the opposite. And to me, this makes sense. It may not make sense to you or your viewers, but to me, it's like these drones are in the sky and they're sticking their tongue out at us, right? They're not trying to hide, right? If you're like, you think about military exercises, you dress in camouflage, you go in the woods when it's dark, and you try to shoot the enemy and hide behind hills so they don't see you or hear you. These people, or whoever this is doing the opposite. They are up in the sky. They're obvious. You can almost set your watch by them. They're bright. They move erratically. They're easily identifiable. So I think it's the opposite of nefarious. I think I've come to the conclusion it's some kind of either a military exercise, or there are drone manufacturers who are showing off or doing drills or something of that nature. So as far as the timing goes, it started 13 days after the election. I don't know. You don't know if any of the timing means anything. You just don't. It's all speculation, just like I'm speculating about what it is. But the one thing that is painfully obvious is there's no mystery here. They are not trying to hide. So take from that what you might.
Very interesting. A lot of people are wondering, do you think, as far as you mentioned earlier, you've seen some things that don't look like conventional drones. What do you think about the theory that the more conventional drones are going up to investigate the more orb-looking ones, or that they're being sent there to kind of add some confusion about the orbs, which is something Lou Elizondo, who was involved with the Pentagon in the past, recently put out there? It could be some type of confusion tactic.
I can't really speak to that too much. I just don't have any experience or knowledge of it, but sure. Or it could be hobbyists. There could be some legitimate purpose that some drones went up there. I mean, it could be hobbyists just saying, I'm going to go up and mess around, have a little fun. I'm going to go up and, some guys are like, I'm just going to go up to be annoying. I don't like the government. I'm going to go up and try to get more people in the government and aggravate them, I just don't know what where to go with it. Some speculation is good. Some speculation is just like, it's just conversational, because you got to have something to back it up a little bit,
What can you tell us about what's going on with China and the cell phone towers now? Because some people have hinted this might have something to do with China, but no matter what, it seems to be coming out in the past few days that they have spied on various cell phone towers. And is this something people should be concerned about? And if yes, what should they do to protect themselves?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that one. There's always, this is like the dirty bomb thing. Every town just about has a cell tower or more than one in it. So I will say this, and talking to my friend that is the nuclear guy, how do you take a depleted radioactive bar, I don't know what it's made out of, but a radioactive bar, and turn that into a dirty bomb to scare people? If you pick cell towers, it's because there's a cell tower everywhere. Otherwise, your phones don't work, right? You can almost physically see cell tower to cell tower in this country. Out where you are in the farm, outside of Wichita in the farm country, it's where they get seldom, right? So here in New Jersey, here in New York, and everywhere else, they're everywhere. So maybe that's an easy thing to just start a hysteria about. But The
Alejandro
Chinese are
Mayorkas
spying.
actually confirmed it, though. That's one thing he has confirmed.
Well, tell me
Alejandro has
that.
confirmed it. Yeah.
Mayorkas confirmed that the Chinese were spying on cell towers.
Yes, he did
Okay,
confirm that yesterday.
okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Okay, I you know, how that relates to drones, I don't know. The Chinese are spying on everything, whether people understand it or not. They need to understand it. We're at war with China. China has a 100-year plan to mess with the United States. They and we know where we're at. All of our smart guys, all the people at the NSA and all those CIA and all that, they all know it, right? The average person may not, but China is up to everything they can possibly do to undermine our country. It's not a mystery. So if they're spying on cell towers, but I just don't, then they are. I'm sure the government well aware of it, just like buying up farmland around military complexes, right?
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
was
know
going
what.
to ask you that because there was a report that came out last night with a Chinese expert, I believe from Stanford, saying that every Air Force or every military base where these incursions have happened with the drones seem to also be around Chinese owned farmland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the specific knowledge of that, but I've seen the maps that the federal government's using, saying, uh, you have a military base, and somehow the Chinese have been allowed to buy land around that base. Of course, the Chinese are saying, well, we need farmland to feed our country, so we'll ship food back. But then why don't you just go out and buy big pieces of land in Iowa that are nowhere near it to grow corn that are nowhere near a base, right? It's because they're up to something, trying to spy on the bases, looking at the bases. I do think they have a rude awakening coming January 20th because I think President Trump's he's going to clamp down on that quite a bit. But as far as back to the cell towers, I just don't know how they're saying that the drones are spying on cell towers. Here, we haven't seen them actually spend time around cell towers. We've seen them going just over populated areas, and the drones going over populated areas. I haven't heard of any cell tower like focus, from residents or other towns.
And the one thing I just wanted to ask you about is for the people, and even some government people have said this, and I'm not saying there's any type of invasion. It seems, as you said, I mean, there doesn't seem to be, there might be spying going on, but there doesn't seem to be any type of imminent threat at this point. But for the people saying, oh, why would they invade New Jersey? Ha ha ha. New Jersey, yeah, that's where they'd invade. Why would they? Because it is a highly populated state. There's a lot of military bases. It's right beside New York City. There's 60% forested areas.
Well, someone I spoke to, who has a guy I know who's retired from security work, and I don't mean like working for security of a building, security and more of a higher level, told me that New Jersey is a prime target. One, the density of the population, it's the most dense state in the country. So if you did something, you hurt the most people. We have power grids going. There are already drone limits on, but we have power grids going through here like crazy. We have huge natural gas pipelines that go through here. We have Amtrak that runs through here. We have, we're right next to New York City. So if you disrupted the ability to get to New York City from here, you're doing it for the most of the country. We have major, Newark Airport is the airport that causes the most delays and problems in the country when they get thunderstorms because it backs up everything everywhere. And they've been working on that. So there's a lot of critical infrastructure here that certainly would be a target, and the density of population would definitely, make it more convenient to hurt people.
So what would you like to see happen at this point? Do you think everything's under control now with the FAA blocking off certain areas over military bases? Are the sightings going down? What would you like to see happen in the next couple of weeks here?
In the next couple of weeks, I'd like to see if they truly don't know what some of these drones are, which, I don't know how much I believe. I don't really believe a lot. I will tell you, after, since the last time we talked, like 10 or 11 days ago, I will tell you, I think it's about an 80-20 split. About 80% of the sightings are something other than drones. They're planes, they're things like that, stars. I will tell you, I have had numerous people tell me that that's a drone. It's just sitting there. And then when you go and look at it, it's Jupiter. I get it, but it's mainly because people are stressed. But of the percentage that are drones, I'd like to see the government get more aggressive and go get some. And they have the Air Force has these net systems, and they have this. I know they have these satellite disruption systems that it takes 11 satellites to make a drone know where it is in space. Start getting a few down, or come out and say, hey, we got it under control because we know what it is, and it's us. But I think something needs to give. People are a little busy with Christmas right now, but this time next week when Christmas is over, they're going to go back to this stress level, and that's not good.
And I'm sure you've been incredibly busy the last few weeks. You've been appearing on, since the last time we talked, you've been on all the major talk shows all over the place.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you were one of my first interviews, and which was great. Kind of helped me get used to doing this because you're a pretty affable interviewer. And then I got on some of these shows, and some of the shows push you to politics. Well, let's talk about Governor Murphy. Let's talk about President Biden. But they don't really matter. It's the drones that matter. And it's funny because I've been on in Australia, I've been in Brazil, France, Netherlands, Canada. And the one that's really shocking me, I was interviewed by a TV station in Dubai, or Dubai TV, whatever it's called. And then the stuff's running everywhere. Trying to keep our foot on the pedal for this thing and not let these people off the hook. We want them to answer.
For the government, do you think, because I heard another mayor from another town in New Jersey talk about this, and I forget which one, but it wasn't the Belleville mayor, but he was kind of saying about the governor might actually not be getting that much information from the feds, and New Jersey doesn't have its own Air Force. So it's not like the governor would be in the know as much as people might think.
I've defended the governor. I genuinely don't think he's got some secret briefing and has information. I can tell you, and this will be something good for you to work on. There was a bill called HR. It's still pending in the Congress. It'll be hopefully voted on next January. It's HR 8610, which is it basically deals with drones. But one of the key provisions in it is right now there's a lot of jurisdictional confusion. Right? Big fancy phrase. In other words, can the state police do this? Can the local police do this? Can county police do this? Does it have to be the Air Force? Does it have to be this? And the state police here have even said that, they might get in trouble with the feds if they acted on a drone because it's technically FAA and Air Force territory. So this bill is supposed to clarify that and give broader powers. But for the governor, there is no Air Force. I think the New Jersey State Police have a couple of more aggressive helicopters. I don't know what the name is, and then they have transportation helicopters and medical helicopters. So I think it's a matter of the governor doesn't know. They don't necessarily have the authority or power to do much about it. So again, it still falls back to the FAA and the Air Force.
And as we wind it down here, a fan is bringing up that one of the most intriguing incidents was 12 to 30, and I've even heard up to 50 drones observed following a Coast Guard rescue boat, supposedly within 100 feet. He wants to know if this is being investigated and has it been confirmed legitimate. I know one of your senators has said it's legitimate.
I have, just like the drone topic, I've seen 5 different responses on that. And unfortunately, I'm just not someone that can say I have real knowledge. I know that it came out, and then we also saw I forget who it was. It was, I think it was John Kirby saying something about that was an isolated incident. And it wasn't as reported, but he didn't deny it. Right. So, I know that the Ocean County and the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office have been very aggressively looking for and chasing drones with their own drones. But again, that's about a week ago. The New Jersey state police were over a drone with their helicopter. They documented it. They told us about it in a meeting. They've publicized it in the newspaper, but the feds come out and say, well, it was just one incident. Well, one's enough, right? So they're down, we had this White House briefing on Tuesday that just aggravated everybody. All the mayors in New Jersey were in touch with the White House. They started the meeting late. First thing out of their mouth was, there's 1 million drones in the country and you guys are seeing planes. And from there it went downhill. So I think that would be an answer for the Coast Guard. If someone had a connection with the Coast Guard or the Ocean County Sheriff's Office, those are the people that probably ask about that.
I also heard that the government is saying that these New Jersey area incursions have nothing to do with the other ones happening. There were some pilots that reported something last week in Oregon, and they released the radar conversation with the radar operator. We've seen Wright-Patterson Air Force Base has supposedly had some incursions, and now Virginia. You might not know anything about it, but do you think there's no correlation? Or do you think some of these incursions could be connected?
Those kind of things, regardless of whether we have drones over New York Metro, right? New Jersey now, New York, downstate New York, by the way, the drones have also moved into Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. They call it the Eastern Shore, they call it the Delmarva Peninsula, which is where I grew up in Smyrna, Delaware. Those kind of things where there's just an anomaly or there's something that happens over any Air Force base up in North Dakota or wherever, those have been happening for decades. So I don't know that they would have any relation to this.
Yeah, I even heard
those aren't new, right?
The Pentagon spokesperson, the Air Force person that did a briefing yesterday, even said in a recent briefing, the Air Force base incursions aren't new. So it's, as you said, it's something that's been going on for a while. Someone wants to put you on a spot here on if you believe in extraterrestrials and if you think some of this could be that activity. Or are you open-minded, or are you certain of something?
Extraterrestrials?
Yeah.
I appreciate the question, but I just want to keep the conversation to the drones and what I actually know. I don't want to. I'll tell you why. If I say anything's possible, somebody's going to put a tin hat on me, right? And I respect people's opinions, but I want to stick to what I know about what's going on here in Jersey.
And that's a very political question these days anyways, whether people are into that or not. And I appreciate all of your answers and your honesty and coming on here with us and answering some of the fan questions, which there's been probably at least 1,000 pop up. So I'll let you close this off by letting us know where people can follow you to stay up to date with this. And I wish you a great holiday season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. I'm just on Facebook, and I do get messages on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, which I don't use a whole lot. It's Mayor Sam I am, 07803 or 07803. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Like I said, the only thing I tell people to make them feel a little better is I think if somebody wanted to hurt us, they would certainly go about it in a different way than having lighted drones fly 150 feet over your towns and basically wave at you at night.